Welcome back to Mets Daily. I'm your host, Jake Brown, at Jake Brown Radio and all social. Make sure you smash that thumbs up right now. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Click subscribe. We're over 500. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. Make sure you share this with your Mets fans, friends, family, your pets. Make sure they subscribe as well. I appreciate your support. And again, tweet me at Jake Brown Radio. TikTok's back. We're on there. It's Monday, January 20th, 2025. Obviously a crazy day in our country. A lot going on. Happy Martin Luther King Day as well. Plenty of things going on in our world, but this is a Mets channel, so we want to talk about the New York Mets. And, a lot of things happen with other teams. We broke down A.J. Minter on Friday. Over the weekend, a lot of things happened, so let's get right into it. In the last 24 hours, Anthony Santander has signed with the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, Santander was on the list for the Mets as a potential target, but he goes to the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays finally land someone. They miss out on Roki Sasaki over the weekend, but they do end up landing Santander. So they get their outfielder, maybe it's their DH, 5 years, $92.5 million for Santander. Now, here's the caveat to this. More than $35 million of it is deferred, and the deferrals can get up to $50 million depending on the opt-out, which is a potential opt-out after 3 years. Listen, this is a no-brainer for the Blue Jays, and it's very intriguing because it could affect the Mets and other teams because now they have Santander and Vladdy. They got 80 to 90 homers between those two. If they don't come to an extension with Vladdy, do they end up putting him on the block? If they do, he stays, and if they don't, do they keep him? And, that means they're out on Pete Alonso. This would tell me that the Blue Jays would not have interest in Alonso because, if they keep Vladdy, they're not going to have 3 40-homer, boomer, bust kind of guys. Vladdy, better average hitter, back-to-back in this lineup. So this is a good deal for the Blue Jays. I think they needed to get kind of a big bat, and they do it in a smart fashion when it comes to the money. And it's really after deferrals, not a crazy amount. Without deferrals, it's $18 million a year, and I think we all thought Santander would get around there. We thought it was going to end up being a short-term deal. He gets the years he wants, so good for him, good for Santander. And what does that mean for the Mets now? Santander was maybe the Mets option if he took a shorter-term deal, but I didn't think it's realistic. But I do think a name that's been reported recently, and the Mets have been interested all off season, is Jerickson Profar. Now, I like Jerickson Profar. Everyone wants to say this about Profar. He had the best year of his year in a contract year. He's not going to replicate this. But then there's no reasoning after that. I get it. He never has had as good of a year as he did last year. But why can't he put up back-to-back good years? Oh, he's going to be 32 years old, next month. He's never done it before. There's no way he could do it. So you're telling me Christian Walker, who, by the way, had the 3 best years of his career the last 3 years, when he was 31, 32, and 33 years old, and just got himself a 3 or $60 million contract. Profar can't do that? Profar can't come to Queens and play with Juan Soto he played with in San Diego and put up numbers like you see on the screen. Why not? Why can't he when he's got guys like Lindor, Soto, Vientos, Nimmo hitting around him? Why can't he put up these good numbers? 280, a 380 OBP, 24 homers, 85 RBIs, a 3.6 WAR. Listen, that WAR, a full point better than Pete Alonso. RBIs, he had 3 less RBIs. Obviously, the power numbers, Pete's always going to beat anyone else in power for the most part, but the average in OBP way better than Pete too. And listen, if you're getting Profar, it's not going to be a 5-year deal. It's not going to be a 4-year deal. My guess is it would be 2 years, maybe with a 3rd-year option. But the market is not there for Profar right now like he thought it would be because I think a lot of people are assuming he's not going to replicate that success. But you're telling me if you can get 2 years, $20 million on Profar, you're going to say, no, I disagree. I would rather have Profar in this Mets lineup than Brett Beatty, than a Ronnie Mauricio coming off surgery. I think Profar is more the sure bet, and his ability to play around the diamond is crucial. And I get it. He's not the greatest defensive player. But Jerickson Profar can be your first baseman right now. He's played 72 games at first in his career. He's played 549 in the outfield. So he's not going to give you gold glove defense, but neither was Pete Alonso. So to me, Profar, with the idea that he can play all over the place, it's a no-brainer to me. He's a switch hitter as well. So, the matchups won't be an issue. You can, if someone gets hurt, you play him in the outfield. You start him at first for now. and you go with it. I just don't get why people assume he's going to stink because he was great last year. I see some potential. 10 stolen bases, maybe he could steal you 10 bags. I think it's a no-brainer for the Mets if they can get him at that deal. And you got to think, they're shopping, according to reports, Starling Marte. They've been shopping. They had an offer to get, or they offered, or there was an offer for Hunter Harvey, a reliever. So the Mets clearly want a, middle reliever if they can get rid of the $20 million owed to Starling Marte. And, trading Marte to me means even more that Profar is intriguing because you lose your backup outfielder in Marte if someone were to get hurt. Remember, Nemo dealing with the plantar fasciitis. So, I don't know. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Jerickson Profar, and just because he had a great year, they don't think he's going to do it again. When a player like Christian Walker went into free agency, last 3 years, 31, 32, 33, had the best years of his life. So I think you can get Profar on a really good deal if you decide to move on from Pete Alonso. And that's the next topic of conversation. Could there still be a reunion now? Anthony Santander goes to the Blue Jays. You would have to think they were one of the targets for Pete, and it feels like that's out the window. Like, obviously, they could move Vladdy to third, and they could maneuver things to make it work, but would the Blue Jays really have Vladdy, Santander, and Pete, 2 of the 3 being boom or bust power hitters? I don't see them doing that. So the Blue Jays out of the picture now. Still no new rumors about where Pete Alonso might go. I wouldn't rule out yet a reunion with Pete. The Mets playing hardball a little bit. That deal is more than fair. We talked about it last week. I'm not going to hit it again. The Mets offered him to be the 4th highest paid player at the position in baseball, and he said no. So I really don't think that deal was disrespectful. Like a lot of people said, 3 years, $70 million. I know people are going to say, but he's homegrown. You got to treat your homegrown right. The Mets don't care about that. It's not really about that for the Mets. So I think Pete Alonso, there's not many other teams out there. Like, I think about the Angels, maybe a desperate team. I don't see him going to the Blue Jays now. I think that is completely out the window right now. It still feels like the Mets are fit. So to me, a lot, the pivot from Alonso is clear. Jerickson Profar. Everyone's like, no. Tell me on the free agent market, who do you rather have for the Mets? That has flexibility, that can get on, that's coming off a good year. You want Rizzo? You want Ty France? You want Rowdy Tellez? You want 40-year-old Justin Turner? Throw me some other names. You want Mark Canha? I like Mark Canha as a person. 36 years old. He's not the same player. You want Alex Verdugo? There's not many guys that could come and play first, position flexibility, switch hitter, coming off a great year at a good value that you might be able to get outside of Jerickson Profar when you look at who's left in free agency. And I'm sorry, I'd rather have Profar than the uncertainty of Vientos moving over, the uncertainty of Brett Beatty potentially playing third with Vientos at first. That is last case scenario for me. Vientos first, Brett Beatty third, Acuna third. I like Acuna. I want him to start, but not with Vientos giving you, defense at first that you have no idea what it's going to be. Big weekend for the Los Angeles deferred. The rich get richer. The Dodgers, no shock, signed Roki Sasaki. And then the icing on the cake was them this weekend adding Tanner Scott. I mean, can you believe it? The rich get richer. The richest get richest. Richest ear. I just made up a word. Worcester. What movie is that from? Name that movie. Adam Sandler movie. Let me know in the comments. Worcester. What's that movie? Classic. Tanner Scott out of the bullpen. Roki Sasaki out of the rotation. And, the deal is just absurd. The Dodgers able to get $21 million signing bonus, $20 million deferred. So present day value, it's like 4 years, $31 million, which means they got, the best reliever on the market for under $8 million a year present day. It's just absolutely absurd. And obviously the Sasaki deal, we know it's a $6.5 million signing bonus, but it's a minor league deal because he came a year before when he would have got the monster contract. And now when you just look at this Dodgers staff, it's just absurd. Snell, Yamamoto, assuming Ohtani pitches in the rotation, Sasaki, Glass now. 3 Japanese stars, another star in Snell, Glass now when he's healthy a star, and then I have Gonsolin and May on the bottom right there as basically their 6, 7, and now potential trade bait. And then you look at the bullpen. That's just the top 3. They have other guys as well, but you look at the back end of their bullpen. Tanner Scott potentially closing, Blake Trinan and Michael Kopech setting him up. That is just an unbelievable bullpen. You add in guys like Evan Phillips, Alex Vesia, all had really good years. Anthony Banda, Ryan Brazier. That is, arguably the best bullpen in the sport. It's, not an argument, the best rotation in the sport. And that's not assuming that they had Clayton Kershaw, which could give them an 8th starter. It's just a ridiculous team, and it's almost not fair when you look at the Dodgers right now. And for the Mets, it's going to be an uphill battle. For everyone else, it's going to be an uphill battle. It's a conversation for another day. Does baseball need to change? But, if you're a fan of any other team, it's frustrating because the Dodgers are the clear-cut favorites. In the next 5 years, I can see them winning at least 3 World Series. And it sucks for the rest of the league, and the Mets are going to have a tough battle. But in the end, it comes down to a series in October, and it comes down to who could get the best out of 3 and then who gets the best, out of 5 potentially and the best out of 7. So it comes down to October. Sometimes the hot team beats the team with all the stars. But, man, you look at this Dodgers roster, and they add Sasaki to that rotation, Scott to the bullpen, and they're going to be unbelievable. Well, we'll see what happens here with the Mets. Again, Jerickson, Profar, Pete Alonso, a couple of names floating out there. Adding another reliever, Ryan Stanek maybe. Maybe they're in the market. If they could get Yates, who the Dodgers had interest in. By the way, Tanner Scott almost went to the Cubs for more money, but he took a little bit less to go to the defending World Series champion. So we'll see how this all plays out, and we'll be back here tomorrow to talk all about it. Let me know in the comments, do you want Jerickson, Profar on the Mets if Pete Alonso goes elsewhere? Comment below. Let me know. Tweet me at Jake Brown Radio. And again, hit that thumbs up button. It really helps the channel. Hit that subscribe. Hit that share. I appreciate you growing and building this new channel with me. This is Mets Daily. I'm Jake Brown, and we'll catch you tomorrow, Tuesday, January 21st. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for watching.